Hi kids, it's Mrs. Fravel. How are you today? I hope you're fine. I'm fine too. Thanks for asking. Hey, today we're going to continue on talking about the how energy is generated in cells, how cells make and use energy. So we've already discussed and investigated and done a couple of labs on both photosynthesis and cellular respiration. And just a really quick kind of a review. Who does photosynthesis? Right, autotrophic plants, both vascular plants and algae, right? Who does cellular respiration? That's right, all cells do cellular respiration. Remember, that's a really important distinction. Plant cells are the only ones, in terms of eukaryotic cells, plant cells are the only ones that do photosynthesis, and they create sugars from sunlight and water. It's magic. No, it's enzymes in science. But both animal cells and plant cells do cellular respiration. They do both aerobic and anaerobic respiration. We did a lab on Monday looking at anaerobic respiration and how that's influenced in yeast depending on temperature, and looking at how much carbon dioxide is actually produced. So today we're going to just kind of wrap all this up in a little bow and tie it together. So we're going to talk a little bit about how those two processes go together. And I hope this doesn't seem awkward because this presentation is actually built for the classroom. So, if you're at home quarantined or sick or choosing to be online, which you should be taking the online biology class that's offered, but that's fine. This might seem a little weird, so I'm just going to kind of walk you through the questions that I would be asking in class that the students would be answering verbally and on whiteboards, and hopefully you're getting it. Hopefully you too can get the answers down. So I encourage you to be a diligent student, and as I'm asking the questions, write down what you think the answer is, and then I'll talk about it, okay? Okay, so let's talk about how energy and matter kind of move through systems, because while we already did ecology and we talked about, remember, the trophic levels and how wolves change rivers and how trophic energy flows through, so this is going to tie back together with photosynthesis and cellular respiration. But let's talk about a couple of things. If my PowerPoint will go. There we go. Goodness. Okay, so a quick review. No, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to skip that. That was for Monday. Sorry. Okay, so what I would like you to do is you should have a piece of paper or something to write on, but I would like you to write the equations for photosynthesis and aerobic respiration down, both of those. I'll give you a minute. Go ahead and pause me. I'll wait. Okay, are you back? Okay, did you write the equations? I hope you did. And I hope this is what you got. You can use your notes, of course. Okay. The equation for photosynthesis is 6 carbon dioxide molecules plus 6 water molecules are converted into, oh, that sunlight should be over there. Hang on. Hey, sorry about that. I guess I didn't catch some typos and some editing errors. Okay, so we're back. The equation for photosynthesis is 6 carbon dioxide molecules plus 6 water molecules with some sunlight and some enzymes come out to build C6H12O6. That is 1 molecule of sugar, glucose, and 6 oxygen atoms as well, or 6 oxygen molecules as well, that are released into the atmosphere as waste product. Whew, man, that was harder than it should have been for someone at my level. I'm sorry. I'm fine. Okay. And then go ahead and write down, if you didn't already, pause me and write down the equation for respiration. Okay? Are you back? Okay. Here we go. So the equation for cellular respiration, aerobic respiration anyway, is glucose, C6H12O6, plus 6 oxygen molecules, and through some enzymatic and proton and electron chains inside of a mitochondria. Remember that? You come out with 6 carbon dioxide molecules and 6 water molecules as waste, and the end goal is that 36 ATP molecules, boom, that make it possible for cells to work. ATP is the molecule that stores energy. Okay, we got it. Okay, so look at all of that. Look at all of those equations. Look at the actual elements and molecules in that equation, in both of them. What do you notice about them? Do you notice anything? Do you see a relationship between those two equations? Yeah, you should, because they are inextricably tied together. Photosynthesis and cellular respiration form a cycle. The reactants, what goes into them, for one, is the products of the other one. Okay, so what is needed to do photosynthesis, which is carbon dioxide and water, that is the waste products. Those are the waste products in cellular respiration, in aerobic respiration. So these two processes in cellular energy are bound together, and they feed each other, and they create a balance of energy and matter in a biological system. Generally, we can call that an ecosystem. In an autotrophic body, it can happen just right there in that organism. Okay. And again, they are opposite reactions. So photosynthesis is a production reaction. It makes something, makes sugar, whereas respiration is a consumption process, in that it breaks apart the sugar, right? Photosynthesis, of course, happens in chloroplasts. Respiration happens in mitochondria. Photosynthesis converts light energy from the sun into chemical energy locked in the bonds in the glucose, where respiration breaks down the bonds in that glucose and converts those into chemical energy in an ATP molecule. Okay, so it takes one kind of chemical energy and creates another kind of chemical energy. Photosynthesis stores energy in glucose, and the reactants are water and carbon dioxide. The reactants in respiration are oxygen and glucose. The products are oxygen and glucose in photosynthesis, and the products in respiration are carbon dioxide and water, and of course that ATP. Okay, so these are opposite reactions that happen in conjunction with each other. Now, why is this important for what we're talking about in class? Okay, oh, and there's a nice little graphic of the nice cycle of energy between respiration and photosynthesis. Okay, so why does this matter? What are we talking about? Okay, so what else is cycled through when we talk more on an ecosystem level, or let's call it an organismal relationship level? Okay, so here's some questions that I want you to try to answer as I go through. So when you're looking through those equations that you wrote down, what elements, what molecules, and what elements do you see being exchanged and that balance out on the in both sides of the equations? Go ahead. Write it down. I'll wait. Pause me. Okay, are you back? Did you notice that in those equations we have oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon being balanced on both sides? So what goes in as reactants comes out as products with the same number of elements and molecules, just rearranged in different groupings. Okay, let me see if I can get back to there we go. See, so up here we have 6 carbon dioxide and 6 water, and if you count the number of atoms in each of those molecules, number of carbon atoms and the number of oxygen atoms and the number of hydrogen atoms in the reactant side. Over on the product side, it's the same number. They're just put together a little differently, okay? So they're all balanced, but they cycle through a little differently, okay? So we have oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon being balanced between those two equations, okay? Good. In what way are oxygen and carbon dioxide exchanged? And I guess by what way, I mean, what state of matter are they in for the most part when they are being exchanged? Go ahead, pause me. Write down what you think I mean. Are you back? Okay, good. Mostly we see those exchanged as gases. In oxygen and carbon dioxide, those are mostly exchanged as gaseous states of matter, right? Okay, so now here's another question. When we talked about plants, do you remember how plants uptake water? And I'll add to that. How do they uptake nutrients? Where do plants get their stuff? Go ahead, write it down. I'll wait. Pause me. You back? Okay. They uptake water and nutrients through their roots. Okay. Because remember, to build a body, what do you need to build a body? Like, what are bodies made of? And remember, plants are bodies too. Vascular plants are bodies. There are animal bodies and there are plant bodies. And we've talked about how their cells are different and how their cells are the same. What are they made of? Like, why is that important? Okay. Where do animals get those sugars that they're using for cellular respiration? Pause me, write it down. You back? Okay, good. Animals get those sugars from the food they eat, but I discussed in class a couple times, is that all that we eat? Do we just eat sugar? Is that it? No. I'll talk about that more in a minute. Okay, so one more question. When a living body is done using its tissues, and that is a very nice way of saying when it dies, or when it releases solid wastes into the environment, that's a nice way of saying poops. And those wastes are just nutrients that it either used all it needed or couldn't use. Then what happens? Okay, and here's where I want you to think back to ecology. We talked about the trophic level. What's the end trophic level? If a trophic energy flow in an ecosystem starts with the sun, with whom does it end? Okay, write that down. Okay. Remember scavengers or decomposers, detritivores, those organisms that are either macroorganisms like scavenging animals, but mostly bacteria, decomposing bacteria and fungi that actually take waste and dead tissue, and they digest it and dissolve it back into its constituent molecules to then be used again in the ecosystem by plants uptaking those nutrients into their tissues. And again, when an animal eats a plant or eats another animal that has eaten a plant, that's where those nutrients come from, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Why am I talking about this, Ray? Well, we already did ecology. This is supposed to be cellular energy. It is. But what I want you to keep in mind is the phenomenon for this unit, and I'll show you that in just a sec. But quick review again. We talked about macromolecules. Remember macromolecules? What are they again? Write them down. Are you back? Okay. Macromolecules are carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. Now we're again just going to talk about carbohydrates, lipids, and proteins because nucleic acids are their own special thing. DNA and RNA totally a little bit different how they move through systems, okay? But carbs, lipids, and proteins, okay? And what are they used for in a living cell and in a living body? What do those do? I'll wait, write it down. Pause me. Are you back? Okay. Macromolecules are actually used in a body to construct the structures of the body, right? The cell membranes, and cells become tissues, and tissues become organs, and organs work together in organ systems, and they make a body. Okay, and all of those are constructed of those macromolecules, carbs, lipids, and proteins. And when an animal eats, your body, remember we talked about all of this. Your body, when you eat, your body digests and breaks apart macromolecules into their constituent elements like carbon and hydrogen and oxygen. Do you remember us talking about that? Also a lot of nitrogen that's used in other things. But is this starting to come together a little bit where we're talking about how matter and energy are cycled through between organisms? Okay, so photosynthesis and respiration are one level of the cycling of an environment. The other one is the macromolecule cycling. Okay? And that's energy and matter both being cycled. Okay, so here's our phenomenon for the unit in case you don't remember. So this is an Ecosphere. I'm sure it's trademarked. I purchased these. And I don't know if you can see the little guys in there. Let's see. So inside of an ecosphere, which is an ecosystem that is completely closed off from the outside environment, the only inputs getting into the system is sunlight. And oh, there's a shrimpy. Did you see him? So I don't know if you can see him, but inside there is some macroalgae, which is a non-vascular plant. And then there were 4 little tiny shrimps. Nope, there he is. I only saw 3, but now there are 4. Okay, so there are 4 shrimps, which are animals, and there is a tangle of green photosynthetic macroalgae. Okay, so and the issue, the thing that we're trying to figure out for this unit is how does that system maintain itself with no other outputs from the outside world, meaning no atoms, molecules, no elements are getting in or out. So how are they surviving? Because those ecospheres can last for years. It depends on how long the shrimp last and if the shrimps decide to have babies, which I don't know that they ever do. But what else is going on in there? What can't you see that's supporting that ecosystem? I want you to think about it, okay? But think about, where's the shrimp's waste going? And what might the shrimp be eating? And where are the shrimp getting their oxygen that they need? And where is the algae getting the carbon dioxide it might need for photosynthesis? These are the things that you need to be thinking about and tying together for this unit, okay? So that's conservation of energy and matter in a closed system, and that is in all systems. Okay? Any questions? Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Today I want you to go practice the relationship between photosynthesis and cellular respiration, aerobic respiration. It's an assignment on Canvas. Sorry, there's an announcement.
Principal Jensen, will you please call the main office? Principal Jensen, will you please call the main office?
He is an important and awesome man, Principal Jensen. Okay, so the assignment's name is Molecular Models of Energy Transfer. It's on Canvas, and that is due Monday. The first, it's a virtual lab where you have to move some molecules. You are going to watch all of the energy and matter move between photosynthesis and cellular respiration and watch them tie together, okay? It's long. Read all of the instructions. Read all of the things. I know that you do because you're an excellent student and you're very, very smart, right? Yeah, okay. Your test for this unit is Monday the 1st. It's next Monday. I'm going to post a study guide on Canvas because this is a closed book test. This is the one that we're not letting you do at home and think about it and use the internet. It's going to be good old-fashioned, you got to write stuff test, okay? There'll be more information on I will post it after this, okay? Okay, have a great day. Have a great week. Study and be good, be kind, and hopefully we're almost done with this thing, okay? I mean the pandemic. Okay, bye.